Morning. I'm going to show you how to replace the pump on a pressure sprayer. This one is the Excell brand. It's the Excell XR2625. Nice little pressure washer here, and I've had this for a little over 10 years. It's got the Honda engine on it, this is the first piece of equipment I've ever owned with the Honda engine, and it's just been phenomenal. For over 10 years, every single time I go to use it, just a couple times a year, first or second pull starts right up. So super happy with the engine, but last time I was using it about a few weeks ago, the pump started making a bunch of noise, and then finally it just stopped spraying water. So needs a new pump. The pump sits right here behind the engine, and so the first thing that we got to do is remove this plastic housing around the pump, and we do this by you'll see there's right here. Let me tip this up a little bit. You can see this. You can see this a little bit, and once I tip it up, you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another one on the bottom there. Little screws that you have to use an Allen wrench to get off. I'm sure I'm using the wrong Allen wrench. It's a 7/64. Maybe it's a metric, and I should have used a metric. But the 7/64 Allen wrench is working for me on this one. But anyhow, so I'm going to remove those screws, get that plastic housing off, and then we'll look at removing the pump. You can see I did manage to get the top cover off, this top plastic cover, and I'm not going to lie, that was a little more difficult than I think it should have been. They make those bolts up there all recessed and just difficult to get to with an Allen wrench. I don't know why they do that, so I'm just warning you that if you have trouble with that, your next step is probably just to go ahead and call a professional. If you can't get the cover off, this probably is not meant for you. I did have to, there was this outlet where the water comes out to the hose, the pressure washer hose. I had to take that off to get the cover off. So as you can see, oh man, there's all kinds of damage to the pump here. You can see where it's worn. This piece of metal's just worn completely in two, and down at the bottom there's pieces of the pump and ball bearings. I mean, this thing totally, it went to pieces. So yeah, definitely got to get a new pump on there. So what we see is there's 4 bolts. Sorry, get my hand in the way there. So 1, 2, 3, and then a 4th one on the other side. So we're going to have to remove those bolts, and takes a 13 millimeter socket, so that's my first clue that probably I needed a metric Allen wrench for this thing, but again, the 7/64 worked just fine. So let me go ahead and start those bolts off and get this pump off of here. Alright, so I switched over to a wrench. The socket just wasn't happening, not enough room to work here, so just happen to have a ratcheting box end wrench. Those are very, very handy. Love that. Little Christmas present to myself last year. I love them. Alright, so got those all loosened up. They were not very tight. I'm not sure if that was right or not. We'll set these bolts aside. Not 100% sure if the new pump will come with bolts, so I'll need to reuse these. There's 2, there's 3, and then we just give this comes right off. Beautiful. All right, so you can see here this little sprocket, and here's what the inside of the pump looks like. It's got a little teeth there, and that fits right over there. So so we got the old pump off, and now to the internet to order a new pump, and through the magic of editing, it'll only seem like I'm gone a second. Okay, well, I got my new pump. I purchased this, the cheapest one I found was on eBay. It was about $79.99. Not too bad for a pump that's going to fix this pressure washer. There were definitely more expensive ones available, so I just chose the cheapest one. Well, I guess this is good because this is an instructional video, and these are the things that sometimes happen. So the pump came, and first of all, I noticed when I was looking at pumps that they didn't have pumps that looked like the old pump here. None of the pumps that I was looking at looked like that. Fortunately, this eBay listing, the guy mentioned that. He showed a picture of this pump, and he said this pump is obsolete. They don't sell this pump anymore. And so this is the replacement. This is the one that I noticed everybody was selling when I typed in my model number and everything. And so I thought, okay, great. So I bought the pump, and it came just like that. This is all I got. Now you'll notice that right away there's a difference here. At the shaft where it connects to the engine, you have, on the old one, you had this sort of all these teeth that meshed with this gear coming off the engine. This new one just has this sort of smooth bore with a little channel there for a key. So first thing is I had to remove this gear, and there's just a little set screw. Put a little Allen wrench on that set screw, loosen it up, and it pulls right off. So you see you have this this shaft, and it has a groove cut in it just like the new pump, and so that shaft fits right here. The new pump fits right on just like that. So it fits great. The problem is, okay, so this the way this works is you have a key, a little piece of metal that slides into that slot or slides into this slot. Either way, that key is what meshes these two together so that when the shaft coming out of the motor turns, then it turns this shaft which runs the pump. So the problem is the pump did not come with the key. Well, no problem. You can purchase these at the hardware store or wherever. So I went out. I could not find the right size key. This little channel is about 1/8 of an inch deep, 3/16 of an inch wide, and it's about a little over an inch long. Same with the little channel here on the motor shaft. It's 1/8 of an inch deep, 3/16 of an inch wide. So what I need is a key that is 3/16 of an inch wide and about 1/4 inch high, a rectangular key. Well, they just don't sell rectangular keys. Nobody had them. I went to a lawnmower repair shop, and he said they don't have them. They don't sell rectangular keys. That's just not, they're not used. He felt like maybe the thing had been machined wrong, but I feel like that's not possible because it matches right up to the engine one. You know, 3/16 by 1/8 of an inch. But his experience, and he even showed me a pressure washer pump that he had there in the shop that was only a much shallower depth, so that a square key would have worked. But the square key he had that fit my 3/16 inch little channel there didn't stick up high enough to really grip the shaft here. So what they sell, there's another kind of key that they do sell. It's called a woodruff key, and it looks like this. It's round, or not round, it's a half moon shape, and it's actually flat on the top. Sorry, I'm not doing a good job, okay? And so this actually will fit. It's 3/16 of an inch wide, so it fits nicely here in my little channel here, and it sticks up enough to grip when onto the engine shaft coming out of the motor. The only problem is this is it. Like I told you, the two of them are 1/8 of an inch deep. So that means 1/4 of an inch height is all I need. This is about a 1/16 too tall. So what happens is when you put them together, they won't mesh together. It's too tall. It won't allow the two to go together. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to grind a 1/16 of an inch off the top of this woodruff key in order for this to this to go in here, and then for the new pump to slide onto that shaft. So I'm going to do that now. And I explain all of this because, hey, maybe this is what will happen to you. Maybe this is what you'll find. I looked at ones that came with the keys. Wish I'd have bought one of those, but the keys I saw all looked like square keys, so I'm not really sure. But I'm going to deal with the situation I have rather than try to return this through eBay and get another one that was another $30 more. I'm just going to grind this down a little bit and see if we can get that to work. Little key, and I've ground it off. You can see it's not a perfect machine job, but it seems to work. So I can slide that onto here. Let me use my right hand since I am a righty. Sliding that into the shaft there, and I bring the pump up. And I take the groove and try to align it, and it slides on. It'll slide up just nicely and draw up tight there. So before I put this thing back together, I want to take this apart again. The gentleman at the lawnmower shop where I got the woodruff key here suggested I either put some anti-seize stuff, which is something you use on engine bolts and things to keep them from seizing up, or some white grease. I couldn't find any anti-seize. I thought I had some, but I couldn't find it, so I'm just going to use a little bit of white lithium grease, just so in the future if I take this apart again, it'll be easier to get this key out of this groove. Before installing the pump, I had to remove some things from the old pump, like the outlet here, where the pressure washer hose attaches. This is the pressurized end of the pump. The inlet was already there, nice little hose bib or a hose connector, and then this piece here, opposite the hose connector, some sort of, honestly, I have no idea. I had this hose with this little L-shaped connector was connected to the old one, only on the old one it was opposite the outlet. It was over here, kind of where this is, opposite the outlet. On this one there's this hole, there was a threaded hole, and so I assume this hose, and again this hose is just, it's sealed off on the end. I have absolutely no idea what it's for. I just plugged the hole with it, and we're going to put it back together, and I'm assuming it'll all work. I even looked online to see if I could determine what in the world is that hose for. Could not. So here we go. New hose, or new pump. So you can see I've loaded up the that key and the little channel with grease. So I'm going to try to line those up, and then on it goes. Let's see here. Well, that didn't go so well. Let's try again. Okay, here we go. There we go. I'm on. I'm good. Alright, so now, matter of taking these these 4 bolts and putting these onto through the holes into the side of the engine here, the engine block. Is attached with my 13mm wrench. Get them started. I'll tighten those up. There's no gasket here because there's not water exchanging here between the engine and, well, there's no fluid being exchanged here. It's just holding it on so that shaft can drive the pump that I took off. This whole deal here, it's just not going to fit. The new pump is longer, and it's just not set up with the holes in the same places and everything. So I'm just going to discard that. I mean, I don't know what great purpose it served except to help protect the pump a little bit, but it is a pressure washer pump. I think it can handle a little bit of exposure to water. So this hose I'll probably just pull up out of the way. I'll pull it up over here just so it's not dragging the ground. And I think we're ready. Put some gas in the engine, hook up the hose, and let's give this thing a try. Okay, I'm going to call that a successful repair. New pump on, seems to be working good. Hope that was helpful. Leave me any comments. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those for you.